And
sure.
Quap slips all the way through.
Yeah, Quap in the second phase. It's been a very reliable hero for a bunch of different teams over the course of this event and over the course of this patch. So you're going to be pretty happy with that, I imagine. Very run at you, fairly low cooldown kind of a lineup. And the Rubik comes out, but this is like, it's not a very good Rubik game
Nah.
just yet. Might get a little better later on, but like Tusk spells, not really great. Enchanter spells, also not very impressive.
Sonic
Sure,
Wave's about it, and maybe
yeah,
Blink.
Sonic Wave and Blink are good,
Ten
but
seconds remaining.
not nothing insane. So
Five
TNC
I
probably
mean,
seconds
looking at
remaining.
what
Enchant
Phoenix
would be
5.
nice to have, right? That's just take the boar
Uh,
right back if it gets enchanted.
yeah, that's true.
I do like that they picked up the Phoenix immediately after Cignal essentially showed what their support duo was going to be, because it makes things like the Snapfire pick a lot less ideal for them. You know,
Yep.
you can't just go this pick that essentially nullifies the effectiveness. Maybe you can get a bit more aggressive with your supernovas, realizing that it's not just going to get popped instantly.
It's
I
interesting you
think
brought
this
it.
is.
Sorry, go for it. I
Oh,
was.
just I was going to say with the Tide, it's. We were talking about it before. This does feel a little.
Little
Mm,
throwback.
yeah,
Hmm.
little old school. But
Ten
maybe they can
seconds
make it work.
remaining.
But up until now, they haven't really. The only game that they've won out of their 14
5 seconds
games, I believe,
remaining.
that they've played so far was against Reality Rift. So they took a
Hmm.
1-1 in that series. But other than that, every single game's been a loss. And now they've even got a stand-in. So I'm not
Yeah.
feeling all too confident about Signal.
Yeah. I did have a look at Enchantress's win rate. It is just slightly above
Radiant
50%.
team
Okay.
This patch. But like you're saying, I think that can be maybe a little bit deceptive. I saw people talking about, I think it was with the recent results with Secret, someone was pointing out, like, oh, here's the GPM and XPM for, like, all of the top position 5 players, and look how good Puppy's GPM and XPM is. And it's like,
Mm.
well, it's
TNC
just because they're
Predators
winning
turn to
everything, and they're
battle.
winning almost
Mhm.
every game, so his stats are always going to be better. It's,
Yeah.
it can be hard sometimes to point to just the statistics if you're not looking at maybe a little bit of the context behind it. So
Hmm.
the Ursa comes out. This hero has looked amazing this patch. Really, the Abyssal Blade Rush build looks
10
good. The
seconds
Battle Fury
remaining.
build looks good. He feels like he can even be. He can
5
even go
seconds
toe to toe
remaining.
with some of these big late game carries like a Spectre, just with the rate that he can farm if
Hmm.
he goes the Battle Fury builds. And I definitely think there's some nerfs on the way for him. If not for him directly, maybe some of the itemization. But looks all right this game. You can get rid of the overpower, I guess, with the Enchantress, so that's
Radiant
kind of
team
handy.
pick.
Though, as we've seen, Ursa doesn't even really skill overpower early on anymore. So
Brewmaster to finish things up, huh? So is this a
yeah,
mid brew or a mid
um,
Beastmaster?
maybe mid Beastmaster, right? Then what are you gonna do? You can't stick the Enchantress in the mid lane.
Mm.
You can't chase him there. So I kind of like that as an adjustment
10
from
seconds
TNC.
remaining.
If that's what they're going for here.
5 seconds remaining.
I can't imagine that the lane is going to be particularly fun against Quap, say, but you're going to get a lot of experience. You can go for the item build that you want unhindered and really just run around and control the game after that.
Mhm.
So
Phantom
TA comes in as the pick.
I'm going TNC here.
Yeah, I think I got TNC.
Mid Beastmaster, yep.
Yeah, well, I think this is a really cool adjustment.
I think you still need to be mindful of your boar, of course. It gives a ton of experience. So
Yep.
if oh, actually they're running mid Tusk, or is Van switching up from his position 3 role to allow his stand-in to?
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. But I imagine that maybe maybe they grabbed an offlane player, so Van is gonna have to play mid.
Yeah.
As
I
a
have to
result.
say, not to flame him, but he hasn't been looking all that impressive in his recent games. You know, it's a little bit of down
10
form for him.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, we'll see how they do
5
in
seconds
this
remaining.
particular series.
Hmm.
I don't know. How do you like it this patch that it feels like we have these? There are heroes that are strong and they can just go to any lane, right? Like it does feel like the differences between mid heroes and offlane heroes and carry heroes is kind of narrowed a bit. Like Prophet plays all three lanes, DK plays all three lanes, Quap plays all three lanes. It seems like now we're gonna start getting Beastmaster maybe in all three lanes. Like the strong heroes are just the strong heroes, and they do what they do almost no matter what.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say, right? Like I don't mind heroes that have that level of flexibility, but I think they should never be just out and out stronger than a hero that has to be in this lane, like in particular, right? Like a Spectre can't be in the off lane, just based off how it builds up. You know, same thing with like an anti-mage, although I've seen it. But it's that sort of thing where if you want that level of flexibility, there has to be some sort of a trade-off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's to me it almost goes along with, I think it was it Grant's complaint? He was like, this patch is just a bunch of offlane heroes running around, and
yeah,
I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot, and it does feel kind of accurate. But anyway, let's get ourselves into our first game.
Prepare for battle.
Overlay up, nice. All right. Let's see if we have anything interesting going on item-wise. Not really. Wait, are they sending? Oh, they're sending Tide Hunter mid. They're sending Aris on the Tide to the mid lane.
Sure.
Okay, so they grabbed the position 4 player, so their 4 is now playing mid. I guess Tide Hunter's gonna do okay in the lane against the Beastmaster. You know, he's got damage block and AoE physical damage, so that seems okay. But I also don't think he's gonna super pressure the Beastmaster's farm, and I think the Beastmaster's just gonna get his 2 items and just run around and do his thing and take all your towers, and Tide's gonna press 1 Ravage and be Tide. So,
well, you never know, right? Like if you get enough points in Anchor Smash and you go that full damage build, you can do a lot of work. I mean, when you think about it, it's 3 melee cores that they have right now on TNC. So if Tide's able to get in there, he can nullify a lot of that damage.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he can do a lot. And you've got some potential minus armor synergy later on with the PA. Maybe you get an Ags on your Tide Hunter.
I love Tide Ags. It's probably one of my favorite Ags in the entire game.
Get some AoE gush going. Could be good. Okay, so not a blocking ward here for Cignal, just going to keep an eye on things up at top. I do have a very good pressure lane here. Tusk plus the Quap. Can't imagine that this is going to be particularly fun for Gabby. We'll just have to see how the Ursa copes. I imagine March probably trying to give him a lot of the experience just by himself, so that he can kind of hit level 5, level 6, feel a little bit safer, maybe just go and start jungling up a little bit with the Earth Shock. And then March can kind of soak the lane later on, because I don't know if they really have a whole lot of kill threat here, right? Like, even if Phoenix gets level 3 or level 4, I don't feel like that's substantially different to him having level 2, say.
Yeah. I mean, another thing with the Ursa, I know it's like very small things, and it's probably not enough to push him out of the meta, but even just his base regen is reasonably strong, right? 3.2. Despite, you know, he's not standing under a tower, he doesn't have any mangoes, he doesn't have any ring of regen or anything like that. So similar to sort of like the Tusk and the Nyx Assassin, you can just, not that you want to roam, but you could just stay out on the map a lot longer than a lot of these other heroes that might have 1 less HP per second. It adds up after the time goes on.
Yeah, and then you get a Jelly or a Battle Fury, and you just never ever have to go back to base for the rest of the game, and you can just stay out farming the entire time. You can already see the Battle Fury is peeking through on his quick buy. He's got it all planned out.
Yeah. He's got the movement speed, he's got the power treads, which is fine. You know, he just wants to be able to maximize that Earthshock efficiency. I mean, that's another one of the big changes, right? We were talking about, remember when Ursa had to go Blink, BKB, and then into a Basher? But he also went phase boots, right? Just to enable him to get around in these team fights, because otherwise you just got locked in into the one position after you use that initial blink. But now with Earthshock, you're not really having that same concern.
Yeah, Earthshock and good base movement speed
Mm.
as well. And what I think, what was the other thing? But a lot of agility heroes lost a lot of move speed,
Yes.
and some melee heroes got nerfed across the board. But it feels like Ursa is one of those heroes that has managed to maintain a little bit of base movement speed and a bit of mobility creep coming in with the Earthshock.
Well, he never really built into any agi anyway, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like you noticed it as much as something like a PL or a Juggernaut or things of that nature.
Everyone else got slower, and Ursa kind of stayed the same speed.
Mm.
By far the most painful was Morphling, right? Morphling felt so slow. I think people maybe have gotten used to it a little bit more, but
Yeah.
he felt so slow at the beginning of the patch after they made that change.
And then you're trickling around the map instead.
So we've said like nerf wish lists. Do you have a buff wish list? Do you have some heroes that you want to go back to playing some more that you just don't feel are viable currently? Pudge buffs? People want pudge buffs.
Get it out.
My boy Jenkins wants some pudge buffs.
Well, Jenkins can go back to YouTube for all I care. I don't want to see Pudge. A bit more Zeus would be nice.
Okay.
I haven't seen Zeus in a little bit.
I wonder if Zeus could get the boring passive treatment, where they like they roll a few abilities into one and then give him some new active ability. I could see that happening. It does seem to be a bit of a trend in general.
I feel like Bounty Hunter is pretty interesting. I want to see a little bit of buffs for him. Undying, I always like seeing a bit of Undying. Sven, I want to see Sven come back.
Okay. We're remaking. Do Cignal have their player? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Anyway, I'll put it on a little. Here, let's go. We'll go standby screen for a second, guys, and we'll be back with our AP remake in just a second. Alright guys, we're back with the All Pick Remake. Jamesy's here. So it does mean that we're going to have both rosters at full power. Which is nice,
But
certainly.
how do you think... Oh, I've got to pause, of course. But how do you think he reacted when he showed up and they were like, hey, by the way, you're playing mid-tide. Because we can't change anything up.
Okay. I don't know how much they would have... I guess it depends on whether or not they were talking to him this whole time. And he was like just on his way back home, or he was trying to sort something out. He may have been in the voice call or whatever with them, making the decisions about the draft. But a lot of this is just them adapting. I wonder if the Tide was even picked thinking that it would be the possibility that, you know, this Beastmaster is going to be going to mid lane instead. So
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how this
from
all plays
the words here, it looks a little bit like internet issues, perhaps. I mean, March started off in the chat saying good morning, but at what would the time be there? 12:30.
Yeah.
But no, it looks like it was potentially an internet issue, and the bounty from March has come out onto Jamesy. So
there
just
you go.
you know, making sure he's mindful of it.
They've got a pretty long day of Dota ahead of them, TNC. So they're probably eager to keep things moving along. But yeah, we do have our game going now. I thank all of you guys at home as well for the patience, of course. And let's just see how this plays out. Armel just going to be starting with the Ring of Regen here, getting towards that Dominator as fast as humanly possible. And no real difference anywhere else. I think everyone's pretty much going for the same stuff. How do you think this bottom lane is going to go? The PA Enchantress versus the Rubik Brewmaster. I guess some of it comes down to a bit of creep block and things like that.
I think it really depends on A, the creep block, and B, what creeps actually spawn, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you could get a Harpy Stormcrafter, then, well, you're screwed.
Oh, Tim's gonna take some shots here. Grim's hasn't skilled anything up just yet. We do have the Cinder Brew and the Fade Bolt coming out. So, decent damage there being done to Cignal, but Bot should be able to heal back up. And Tim's gonna go and snag this bounty nice and fast, so that does end up being 3 actually for Cignal and only the 1 for TNC.
A little bit confusing, considering we were talking about in the pregame that a bot is part of the Tim's guild. So I was thinking,
yeah. And there's very few players in Cignal that are actually in a guild, and then KP is repping the OPA, the Oceanic Players Association. So.
Uh-oh. You need to pause the game. Cignal Ultra fails to... Didn't they have the same picks? Bot, Eris.
Oh, is that the issue?
I mean... Alright, proceed.
Alright.
Alright, we back. Hopefully no more pauses.
Yeah.
No internet, no memery. Unless it's tiny.
Yeah. Bring back tiny again. That's what we're all about. I do kind of want to watch this mid lane for a little bit, just to see how it goes. I mean, it is a little boring. It's a double melee mid, so they both CS pretty well. The Anchor Smash, of course, is going to be annoying. I don't even think Armel is really here for the lane so much as just wanting to get a bunch of experience and farm and then go do Beastmaster things later on. Oh, he gets the last hit and the deny. That's the attack speed for you.
The attack speed and an amazing animation too. Grims is being harassed a little bit. He's leveled up the impetus now, so just able to chunk down Tims. You don't want to be casting it all too much because it is still 65 mana per cast, and you don't have too much at level 1.
Some damage being done to Gabby. I do like the Tims build this game on the Rubik, just stocking up on a ton of regen, and really, you know, no Bassi or anything like that. Looks like just going to be going for the Arcane Boots relatively quickly. There is a lot of harassment here, right, with the constant daggers and impetus shots and whatnot.
Yeah, we're seeing a bunch of body blocks coming through as well. Oh, tried to go for the courier there on the Tusk, but he's going to be pushed back by March, popping the fire spirits as well. And now that he's got the headdress, they're able to stay in lane a lot more easily. You can see with the Tango popped as well as the headdress regen, 12.5 for this Ursus, so he's pretty happy.
Have these two camps just been body blocked this whole time?
Yeah.
The small camp and the big camp at top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's life. We got a Kobold Foreman just going in on Tim's. And no help is forthcoming from KP. He's just hitting some creeps over at the camp, so...
Chase him down. Use the Kobold.
Kobold power.
That plus Enchantress is already really fast movement speed to start is pretty OP, right? He was sitting at, I think, 358 at level 2.
So KP just does a little ring around the rosy and comes back to the lane. Still getting chased the entire time. Wave is pushing pretty heavily towards the Dire Tower, and they don't really... Oh, no. Grimm's not near your creep. The hill troll, he's trapped. Save him. Save him.
At least heal
Please,
yourself.
heal yourself. No. Oh, man. I had that happen to me with a Dominator creep in the middle of a stack. I was just like, oh, man. He's just getting gone on. For a little bit of a turnaround. He does have the Fade Bolt. KP coming in. This is good burn damage off of the Cinder Brew. A bot just dead. KP keeping it going. There's no blur, so easy first blood. Tim's surviving there. One more impetus shot, but not enough to kill him. Only the level 1.
Well, level 1 and no mana left, so KP is able to at least fake that he's trying to chase him down a little bit. Misses out on a couple of creeps though, so not the most ideal trade just to spook him.
So mid lane's very even, it would appear. 24-3 against the 21-5. Beastmaster seems to be doing just fine. March does have a single small camp available to him here, and is just going to go for the pull to try and at least drag the wave back a little bit towards the tower. Wave position not in the best place. And Ares coming in to just say hi, check things out.
Yeah, he's trying to interrupt it, but when you've got a Ursa Warrior running at you, you just want to be nowhere near it.
James is pretty low at mid. Armel putting the pressure on him, summons up another board, just going to keep auto-attacking him under the tower. These hits are not doing a whole lot of damage, and that Anchor Smash pretty much removes everything that Armel was doing. Gonna salve up, body blocking himself a little bit with the boars, so does end up having that salve cancelled.
The Fairy Fire being delivered by the courier as well, I think saved him, and yeah, maybe the Enchanted Mango regen 0.6, but yeah, it was a close one, that's for sure.
Once again, Cignal gonna get the better of the bounties here as they grab themselves 3 at 5 minutes, so I think that's a big part of where this net worth lead is coming from currently. Other than that, the lanes are pretty even across the board. Everyone hovering around between 20 and 30 CS on all the cores. He's getting gone on here. Does have the Fable available. Needs to make sure that he gets it out. Here's the lift. That's going to prevent a little bit more damage. He is still getting vision off of this range creep. Grimm's going to chase, finish off the kill. KP trying to finish off a bot, but there is a dagger. Blinks away, going to pop the salve. KP still chasing. A bot really just trying to hold on to the salve as long as he can. And actually, now the Golem is about to expire. 1 second. So Grimms, if he's got the micro right away, could maybe get this kill. Here comes the 2 hurl boulders, but KP a little bit too tanky, and we'll be able to walk it off.
Not quite, yeah. I mean, the equilibrium up on this top side of the map is really pretty in favor of Cignal, it has to be said. Right now, of all the cores, Gabby's sitting in last place, and I think that's a part of the fact from the great body blocks that Eris has been able to do, but also a bit of luck going their way. The one time he didn't block it, it was that crappy troll camp where, sorry, the kobold camp, where essentially the entire thing can barely kill 1 range creep.
Yeah. Pretty tough. Oh, dive away from March, still taking a little bit more damage, and
time.
now Gabby getting betrayed by the Centaur Conqueror. Are they going to need to deny here for March, potentially? There won't even be the opportunity. Van finishes him off, and Cignal getting their 2nd kill on the board. Oh, a bot. Danger at bottom. Lifted back. Nothing to blink to currently. He's alive, but very low. Is there any help forthcoming? Is Grimm's gonna TP out with a salve for him? Alright, he's got one.
Boots and Tangos reaching him as well. So he should be okay.
Mel's got himself a Centaur Conqueror and is just jungling off to the side here while Tide deals with the lane. He's going to be working towards the Vlad's first. Tim's claritying up a little bit, and Armel on the rotation, making his way bottom. Is he going to be scouted out by this Radiant Observer? He's taking the long way around, and they are chasing after Tim's a little bit. As that dagger flies, Armel gets revealed. Who are they going to go for? Bot's the target that they want. They're going to pop the Primal Split as well. Centaur lockdown following up KP. Micros the Storm Panda over, gets the Cyclone on the Enchanter, so it looks like Grims could also just be dead here. Very good damage coming through, and no untouchable just yet. So,
Yep.
nice rotation.
Good combos together. That's really what you want to get out of your first brew split. And yeah, I mean, Armel now is essentially acting as this offlaner now, right? For TNC. He's moved down to the bottom side. He's leveled up his boar. He's got the inner beast aura, and they're able to just take this tower relatively easily.
Yeah, and this is what Beastmaster does best. You just get these aura items, and well, he loses his Centaur, a little bit of his micro. But you get your aura items and you just walk from lane to lane. They're trying to find Gabby in the trees up here. He was abandoned by the Phoenix, who went to go and soak experience at mid, but Gabby does find a TP out. Makes his way over to mid. So,
Radiant's bottom
he's gonna
tower
be okay.
has fallen.
Yeah, he reaches his level 6 as well, so even if he does get dived, he's got that little bit of extra sustain. That status resistance, always really helpful.
It does seem like TNC just gonna trade away this top tower pretty much completely. Cignal with the 4-man rotation up here. Probably send, well, I guess send their Queen of Pain down bottom to go and hold on to bottom tower for a little bit, but Armel's already moving into position to put some pressure on the tier 2.
I'm liking the fact that with Armel, as soon as they had that availability, they obviously want to create pressure, make sure someone TP'd down to defend this tier 2 tower, and in the meantime he took one of the Ancients, grabbing some extra neutral for his team. Oh, are they going to be able to go on Jamesy here? He's a little low on mana, he's got the Soul Ring, but will it be enough?
They're looking at him, but now the TPs are coming mid. Ares making sure that he's in position to help out. March, once again, just kind of going wherever there's a little bit of available experience. Really needs to get that level 6 up. Quick smart. Grims doing a little bit of offensive jungling over on the Dire side. And I think the big question for me is, you know, when does this Tide Hunter kind of come online? For now, he's only in a position to just waddle at towers or park himself in front of one of his own towers. He doesn't have boots. There is a roar coming out. Trouble for this Tusk. Gets the snowball. Tim's just waiting for him to Yapzor this kill. Zaps it up.
Grabs it.
Grims, what? Wanted the outpost, but not gonna get it. So that is no experience for Cignal at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, TNC taking a little bit of control here. How many of the bounties do they get this time? Still 2 going the way of Cignal so far, and the ones on the top side probably going to be grabbed by them as well.
Yeah, they're both still just sitting here for now. Maybe Jamesy, once he gets these boots delivered, will go and check it out. He's got the Faded Brooch as well, so moving a little bit more quickly. But the big question is, the Tide and the Beastmaster both have a very similar level of net worth, but in terms of the impact that they've had so far, you can't look past this Beastmaster. Armel already making a few rotations, bringing down a tower, finding a couple of kills, really just putting on a lot of pressure, and James is just sort of chilling here.
Going a similar style of build to your standard. Oh man, he's barely hitting at all with that. Imagine that, the Fade Bolt and the Anchor Smash, and Jamesy was barely right-clicking for anything.
The Anchor Smash is one of these abilities that's become worse for the Rubik over time. A bot getting gone on at top here. Just dropped the Supernova right on top of him, and very easy pickup for TNC there. PA
Value usage as well. The effect of having these nice wards coming through as well from TNC, they know that there's no backup coming for him, and they could just make that easy rotation and commit something like a Supernova.
Big dive onto Tim's, gets the lift off. Van taking a lot of damage off the tower. Tim's not dead just yet. Need one more touch to finish the kill. No TP's coming, but they do have Armel moving into position with a roar at the ready. Blink coming off cooldown in 1 second's time. And Jamesy just going for the TP out in between the tier 1 and the tier 2. It does immediately TP back to his own tier 1 just to be ready to hold off this push coming from Armel.
Oh, and a regen top. That'll be really handy if you're able to pick it up on Van here, if you can see it.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Will he have a look?
Is he gonna check it out? Ooh, I think he's just about to get vision maybe from this camp.
Oh.
No, he's farming it in a safe position. Not gonna find it. TNC just making a march down towards bottom, and they're just going for a bot again. And he TP'd down here, so no way to TP out. Really needs a blink from his team, perhaps. Grims is dead to Tim's and Gabby, but at least the Phantom Assassin survives.
Well, Van's going back to base. Like,
oh man,
you can see.
Now Jamesy comes over and spots it.
Well, he was spam pinging it out, Jamesy,
he?
actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was giving him the happy face, but it didn't seem like the co-op wanted anything about it.
Well, okay, so bot's just going for straight Deso this game, and in general seems like Cignal just content to kind of hold, keep farming, get their items up. TNC really the ones controlling the tempo. They do come and threaten this bottom tier 2 a little bit, but still might be kind of early for them to make that kind of a play. Though they do have the Necro 1 on our Mel now. Van, you don't want to walk too close to this hill. Playing it safe.
This is Aura Dodo. We've got a headdress, we've got a Helm of the Dominator, we've got the Necro units, we've got a drums, we've got Inner Beast Aura.
Tim's has Enchant stolen. So can get a creep of his own. He's getting gone on again over at mid. His Mud Golem is helping him out a little bit. Steals the dagger. March coming through. Does have the Supernova available. Ravage getting popped just from the 2 support. The Supernova does come out. Can this actually work? Van and Jamesy, they can't get any auto attacks down, so they're forced to just blink away. Van ends up ticking out to the stolen dagger. Oh no, Cignal. This is 2 cores rotating, and you're only going to get the position 4.
Oof.
That maxed out Fire Spirit, just destroying them there.
Yeah, and the Sunray as well. You know, a lot of Phoenixes opting to go for 2 points into the Icarus dive, but wanting that little bit of extra versatility. They're probably going to catch out Gribbs here as well.
Yeah, he's looking pretty dead. And, well, Enchantress just not having a whole lot of fun. Got picked this game to try and counter the Beastmaster. Beastmaster just went mid. Kind of laughed at that idea, and oh, again, they're just running at Tim's here. He gets another level 3 dagger out onto this co-op, trying to lift him back into the tower. This is quite a lot of damage on Van. Is Tim's even gonna die? He's trying to salve in between ticks. He's actually getting a decent amount of HP. He's good. Oh, no.
Got the salve, he's standing under that tier 2 tower, so an extra 3 HP regen. He was totally fine.
Yeah, and the trusty shovel health really coming in handy there. And TNC with that just head straight on into the Roshan pit. Looks like this time around they might... they're going to do okay on the bounties. Nothing amazing. Reese is trying to grab this other one. It is going to be 2 for Cignal, but that is now a Necro 2 on the Beastmaster, and we got an Aegis on the Ursa.
And he's got his broadsword coming out to him, so only the Perseverance remaining until he's got that Battle Fury. Pretty quick climbing.
Yeah, and that's where his farm is just going to explode. And again, we come back to this question of what is the Tide actually doing in this game, right? He's getting gone on a mid here. Kraken Shell can help him out a little bit, but the lift is sending him back towards the Supernova. They're going to pop the split as well. They really want this Tidehunter dead. He is healing a lot with the Anchor Smash. The Roar gets dispelled off immediately, but he still dies.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think what kind of a difference would that have been if they even had one more hero there, you know, to disrupt that in a little way. Maybe just with the Ice Shards to give him a bit of blocking, or the Snowball for the extra couple of seconds of save. But not wanting to commit all too much to it, and when he respawns, he will have the Ravage up and available, so maybe that's the team fight that they want to take on Cignal.
He did have this, he had the Blink queued up for a while, but now he's opted to just go for the Medallion. So I guess hoping to get some of these pops with the 3-point Gush, the Medallion, and now the Deso also picked up on the PA. And it does take out this bottom tier 1 tower. TNC just kind of taking control of the enemy triangle for a second. Tusk with an Invis, lurking around this sentry ward. Maybe hoping for a little bit of a catch onto Tim's. Once again, the target. He's going to get punched out this time around, only gets the 1 dagger out.
So they finally catch out the Rubik in a position where they want him, you know, without having to fully commit and then dying in return.
It does seem like Cignal able to start getting a bit of a push going here. Now that they've got the Ravage ready, they've got the Deso. Just able to sort of roll up on this tower. Primal Split still on cooldown for 55 seconds, so TNC really doubt that they're looking to take a fight. The Supernova also on cooldown for March. Roar is up and available again for Armel. He is farming right on top of an Observer Ward, so they're kind of driving him out, and could they even find him? Trying to retreat back into his base. Armel with the Roar, just gonna get that little bit of extra move speed. Try and get those creeps out as well. He does get shard blocked on the hill, but that is a bit too far to dive, I think, if you Cignal at this stage. And
I think so, but I think it's even worth popping the Ravage for that, right? Like, you made a 5-man rotation. That was the goal. Mel is leading on net worth at that point, and you needed that extra couple of seconds to catch up and actually finish off the kill.
I think the scary thing if you pop the Ravage there, though, is that Beastmaster respawns after the Ravage, and then they just go and take, like, 2 tier 2s because you don't have Ravage up. It's a really tough situation where I think Jamesy can only really afford to pop it for, like, 2 core kills.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
But that's the thing, right? They don't have that same restriction on TNC's side, you know? A much lower cooldown with the Primal Roar, and, you know, you just have so much more versatility with the rest of your toolkit. And this big army on the bottom side as well. Luckily, they do have the glyph, and they're probably going to be forced to pop it because, well, maybe not. There we go. Tower's melting.
Yeah, glyph getting popped just to keep this one creep alive and defend their top tier 2 at the same time. TNC, could they just consider... Oh, they're not going to consider forcing the high ground. They are just going to make a quick line over towards mid lane. Maybe look towards the tier 2 there. No, actually, KP's just clearing one wave. They've got the Necro 3 off cooldown in 5 seconds time, and... Alright, the Tide, the first one to TP in. Jamesy is the wall that they're going to put in front of their tier 3. Try and defend it. And TNC are splitting up a little bit, but they do regroup on the other side of this high ground.
You can sense they want to go now. They've still got a minute left of this Aegis, so at minimum, you want to try and make a play around this tier 2 tower mid. They've got decent vision here with this nice Observer Ward not being immediately dewarded by any sort of high ground sentry.
Just trying to smoke and catch somebody in one of the more unlikely places on the map, thinking that the PA might be farming her way backwards to her side, but not going to end up finding it. About to just go for a pretty safe TP out. He's working on an SNY. Gabby running at the mid lane. 30 seconds to go on the Aegis. They do not have Tims there just yet. He's recapturing the outpost. They do have a nice ward here. They're giving a little bit of extra information.
They found them all. But all the experience is going to go the way of TNC.
Oh, pressure to KP. TNC just retreating backwards. Nice shards. This Essence Ring helping to keep him alive a little bit longer. Sonic Wave and the Ravage getting dropped. Ravage stolen by Tim, so they're just going to go in with the Supernova. Can they find any kind of a catch? The Roar is available. It's pushing them back. Is that going to give the Supernova stun? It will. Here comes the Ravage onto 3. TNC with the team fight combination. KP's sitting there watching from beyond the grave, with a smile on his face, more than happy with the execution from his team, and amazing team fight from TNC.
Yeah, that Roar could not have been more perfect. Just pushing them to the side, making sure that they were going to fall within that range of the Supernova popping, and then, of course, just following it up with an Arcane Supremacy Ravage. I mean, how much is that even stun for? It gives a bit of an extra duration, right? Probably like an extra second.
Yes, that's what, an extra 32%. So
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, that sounds about close to a second, maybe.
Pretty damn handy. I mean, they grabbed the tier 2 tower. Sure, the Aegis expired throughout that entire thing, but they didn't even need it, you know. And again, similar to how it's gone previously, you can just go into this greedier build slightly on the Ursa. You know, we mentioned agility not being the main thing he builds up with items, but you can go that level 15 Talon, although he's in a bit of trouble.
He's getting got on, but he's got the Enrage, so doing okay. Now KP coming in, he's got that split that he wanted to use. Didn't get to participate in the last team fight. They know that the Ravage is still on cooldown for now, and this is the problem that we were talking about with the Tidehunter. You just have to be so careful about how you choose to use your big cooldown, and even once he gets the Ravage back up, it just means that the Rubik's gonna have another Ravage, though, as I say that. Tim's going for the lift on the Grims, and say goodbye to your Ravage, friends.
Well, I'm not even gonna say worth it.
No, I think he should have just played defensively, right? He could have had a Blink Ravage. in like 30 seconds time, and that would have been very nasty if
Radiant's top
your
tower
Cignal.
is under attack.
Still, the fact that TNC have been able to take over the enemy triangle for as long as they have, a big worry for the Cignal side. That does mean that they're really getting out-farmed currently, not getting a whole lot out of the map. And they do come together as 4 to try and take this area back, but it's already been farmed out, and TNC say, look, you can have it. There's no creeps here.
He reaches up into his level 15 on this PA, go on the cleave instead of the lifesteal, so just wanting to keep these waves pushed out as long as possible, try and delay it a little bit longer, maybe try and get that Solar Crest up on Jamesy, level 15 as well, very, very close for him.
Yeah, they do have the Vlads on the Tide, so not as necessary for him, potentially, this game. And he's immediately queuing up the Satanic after this S&Y.
Yeah.
Got a Shadow Blade for the Beastmaster, gonna be going for the Silver Edge after that. Does look like a pretty good Silver Edge game, right? You can get the break on the Tide and then actually stun him.
PA.
Jinx. You owe me a monster.
Oh, no way, it's all mine.
Is under attack.
Untouchable as well, good against that.
Yeah, true.
What do you reckon about Untouchable being moved to an ultimate?
It's how it used to be.
Yeah.
It's
been a while though.
it is a bit weird. I feel like a lot of this hero's strength in the laning stage was. I think the reason that they did it was the Enchantress just seemed, when Enchantress was strong, it just seems so dumb in lane to be able to get like.
They found a bot.
Yeah. And he is very dead. But yeah, I think they just did it to make it so that Enchantress wasn't so dumb in lane anymore. And now the consequence is that we now have kind of current Enchantress. I don't know if it quite feels like an ultimate to me. If you
it doesn't feel ultimate. Yeah.
It's not like exciting at all. I'm like, oh boy, I've got my second point in Untouchable now. Like.
That's the big thing that I love about Dota. You know, it's that in other MOBAs, you have ultimates, but they don't feel ultimate, right? Like, Tidehunter Ravage feels like an ultimate, like a game-changing ability. Black Hole is an ultimate. Primal Split is an ultimate. Other ones are like, oh, you do a little bit of extra damage for a little bit. Like, no.
Yeah. And how many passive ultis do we have? I guess Ricky?
Yeah.
He's the other example of a hero that got the little...
Radiant's top tower is under
Kind of a Abaddon.
Yeah, I guess, but I feel like Abaddon and Wraith King, like, they're
Warpath.
still... Yeah, oh yeah, Warpath, that's true.
Worthy tribute.
People sleep on Warpath a little bit, I think. That ability does a lot of damage.
I kind of think people are sleeping on the Drunken Brawler build on Brewmaster as well. Like, we've seen it really come into prominence when you're able to get up to that level 20, 25. Like, it becomes a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But,
I think the only problem is that he doesn't have any other ability that, like, moves him in the direction of being a bit more right-click focused, right? He's got 2 nukes and, like, something that doesn't scale really with your right-click items at all in the Primal Split. So, I'm with you. I think the Drunken Brawler build is cool, but it's, yeah, I think it's hard to find a situation where you would want to pick Brewmaster as a right clicker versus just like an actual carry.
Yeah.
TNC, if we're not talking about this game, it's just because TNC are just doing normal things. They're running around, they're taking the objectives, they're really in full control of this game currently. Jamesy is farming deep on the enemy side of the map. Like, they just can't show even a little bit. We've got a full MKB picked up now for the Ursa, so PA's life is getting pretty darn hard. And I don't think they can win a team fight anymore. It's...
Yeah, it's going to be rough for him. He's nearly hitting onto that level 20 as well, and they're going to have to get out of dodge quick fast if they're going to make any sort of go out of this game. Only got 20 seconds left until the next neutral items, so perhaps they can get a little bit lucky on Cignal and try and come back into the game in that way, but I mean, you know you're in a dire situation when you're banking on luck to try and turn things around for you.
Yeah, and it's not like the game necessarily gets that much better as it goes later either. Right, we talked about how this Ursa just becomes an absolute monster with the farm rate that he can have with the battle here. Gabby's just running it. Grimm's currently lifting back. Couple of auto attacks. Untouchable not looking very ultimate there at all. And TNC now just setting their sights on the high ground. These lanes did not get pushed out all that far, so there isn't any real pressure on them to go anywhere else. They can just kind of sit here and siege. Ursa not the best necessarily at hitting the building, but he's got the Aegis. Though the tower's going to do a lot of damage with Gust and... not Gust, Gush and the Solar Crest. And the Jamesy, gotta be careful, he's been broken, but they didn't get the stun off the Ravage, the Sonic Wave, that's on everyone, but the cheese gets popped on Armel, so he's actually still living. What have they stolen? It's actually just the Scream of Pain. They bring down one, they bring down two, that's the 2 core is dead. That was the whole team fight from Cignal, and it just didn't kill anybody. Gabby's now running over them. Grimm's, he's got Untouchable, but still feels like he needs the Ghost Scepter here just to survive. It's gonna keep him alive a little longer, but this is TNC's base. This is TNC's game. Fans still trying to hold them back and fight. Another buyback coming through, and TNC, they're just camping out the TP location, waiting for him to make his way in. Lift onto the Quap, that's the end of her. Jamesy walks forward, trying to man fight Gabby underneath his tier 4 towers. Guess who's winning that man fight? And TNC, they clean up the racks. Gabby's maybe is even gonna lose the Aegis here. Hello?
No need.
Guess not. Hop out of the base quickly.
Hop out, hop back in. KP, he's going to tank up the tower this time around, realizing Gabby needs that little bit extra. Does some nice little tread swapping here. Needs to move a bit closer to get that Sunray heal, but...
he was just on the very edge. Alright, Aegis getting claimed. Roll forward onto KP. We do have a snowball stolen from the Rubik, so might be able to help out Gabby with that. He jumps forward. He's actually just going to turn around with the Enrage and kill off the PA. No help coming from Cignal. You can see, no need to leave. Tier 3 tower just about to fall. Dusk waiting for his cooldowns. Does have another snowball, but even if he goes in, where's the damage going to come from? Grims has only got the 1 point in the impetus. Jamesy just getting run at. They get the break onto him, so the Roar stun does connect for the full duration. And now with 5 heroes dead, Cignal will finally be forced to call it.
That is a GG, and yeah, kind of what we were expecting, right? Just based off the draft, based off the fact that they had that little bit of a snafu where they had one player during the drafting stage and then forced the Tidehunter mid afterwards. But as well, it kind of follows, I'm going to call it the script, but the direction of the previous parts of the group stage, right? Where Cignal are now 1-14. They've still got another game left to try and come back, but with TNC, realistically, all they need to do is take 1 game off Cignal, which they have, and 1 game off of Execration, and then they're secured in that lower bracket.
Right, and then they can, maybe make a climb from there. Upper bracket is definitely beyond their reach, right? There's nowhere that they could make it up there. Yeah, they've already got 7 losses, so unless they like completely won out from here. Even then, might be a little bit unlikely. But every time I see Tide, he feels like a little bit of a relic of a slower patch of an old meta. I understand why they did what they did this game, even though maybe they just put the Tide mid, 1 because of the Beastmaster, and 2 they didn't want to have him up against the Ursa. Either, and they've just had to make all of these adjustments. We kind of see as well with the Enchantress. You're picking the Enchantress because you think it's the counter pick to the Beastmaster, but he just goes mid, and Armel has a perfectly normal Beastmaster game where he just shreds buildings. How much building damage did he do in the end? 12.2k. Nice. Got a bunch of extra gold early on for his team. Win probability must have been like 75% by 10 minutes.
Something ridiculous. Let's see. Yeah, looks about that. So yeah, dominant display from TNC. They'll be happy with that to start out their day, considering they do have 2 series to play today. But they still got a game number 2 to go. All
right. So we're going to head to a break. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you back here for game 2 in a couple minutes.